Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of No Man's Sky. As always, I'm Captain Beefy with the Game Ball here today. And I got a good video for you. This one's going to be a freighter related video. And we're going to talk about some of the best upgrades for the freighter that you need to get. These include technology upgrades as well as what I feel are some of the most important rooms to focus on getting when you get your first freighter. These are the things you want to focus on first. So without further ado, let's take a look at some of these things. But before we go there, we're going to go into our freighter and we're going to go here and I'm going to show you two things: a cargo bulkhead and a salvaged frigate module. Salvaged frigate modules are used to purchase technology as well as rooms on your freighter. They work kind of like the regular salvage data modules for your base. Okay, so you trade these things in and you can get rooms for your freighter that are unique to the freighter. And the cargo bulkheads operate the same way the storage augmentations for starships do. It just basically makes your freighter bigger and better. You know, you can get the full 60, well in this case 99, but that's a glitch, but 60 technology slots and then 120 here and the regular storage. Okay, so fantastic. And there's several ways to get these, and they're not nearly as hard to get as they were before the Waypoint update. One way to get them is to send out frigate missions on a daily basis. If you constantly send out 5 frigate missions, they will bring these back on a regular basis. You'll get 1 or 2 a day. Not a lot, but hey, it's better than nothing. You can also find these in the space stations at different, at the guys that hand out the missions. Very often they will have missions that hand these out, which is another great way to do it. Same thing with the Nexus. You go to the Nexus in the Anomaly and run some of those Anomaly missions. You can sit there and just wait for the ones that you want to pop up. You know, they might not be getting you Quicksilver that time around, but who cares if you're getting some nanites and you're getting some storage modules. Well worth it. That's another way to do it. Attacking freighters is another way to do it. You go out there. This one has a little risk to it because, you know, you'll stir up the sentinels in the system, or if it's in a pirate system, you'll get, you know, enemy ships after you. But hey, and you also lose standing with whatever race operates that system. So there is a negative aspect to doing it that way, but you know, it can be well worth it. If that's what you need, that's what you need. And then last but not least, going on the derelict freighters, and there's one in every system, and you open up these big blue boxes on there, they will have them sometimes as well, the salvaged frigate modules. At the end of it, you can choose a cargo bulkhead or an upgrade, a technology upgrade, when you get to the very end of the freighter. And the way you do those is you use one of these emergency signal scanners when you're pulse driving, and it'll bring you to a derelict freighter that you can board. They're cold. You can't use your jetpack. You can't run. They vary in difficulty. Some of them have mechanical defenses in there. Some of them have these weird, nasty creatures that are like little aliens that, you know, are quite dangerous. So, you know, you're going to want to be prepared for that. Make sure you're armed and make sure you have some protection against the cold when you do it and all that. But those are some of the best ways to get those modules, as well as other modules, but those two in and of themselves. So let's go into the upgrade control. Right here on the bridge is where we can see the base parts and upgrades. And we'll start with the upgrades now. All of these over here, none of them are really that important, okay? These are like the last thing I get. But over on the right-hand side, the most important one I think is the matter beam. Because once you get this, and your freighter's in the system with you, you can teleport things to and from your freighter to your own inventory. So if you're planet side and you're out farming for stuff or whatever, you can send it up there. If your inventory gets full, you can send it right up to the freighter. Or vice versa, if there's something on the freighter and you're down there and you're like, oh crap, I broke something, you know, I was in a fight with the sentinels and it broke something and I need an ion battery and I don't have any, and you got them on the freighter, oh, you can bring them down to you. And that will work also in the storage containers on the freighter. So Um, that's a very, very important piece of equipment. I think the matter beam should be one of the first ones you go for. And then after that, if you're going to use your freighter as a to warp, which I like to do, I like to warp with my freighter because it's got quite the range on it. As you can see, it's over 5,000 on the hyperdrive range. But if you've got that, then you can go ahead and get this interstellar scanner, which will tell you what kind of system you're warping to, whether it's what race runs that system, as well as what the conflict level is and the production level. Is it a thriving system, or is it a dead system? So that'll help you decide where you want to go, what you want to do. Then the next things to get are, of course, all of these warp ones. Starting here, this just gives you an extra 200 range, but then you've got red stellar bodies, green stellar bodies, and blue stellar bodies on that side, and then this one here, this gives you more range, and again, more range. So awesome, awesome, awesome. And in addition to all of those, which you see installed here, here's the matter beam and the scanner, and then all the upgraded, or all the warp pieces. Then you've got these other types of technologies that you can install, and these are also taken from a derelict freighter. So like I said, when you get to the end of the freighter earlier, and you can choose a type of technology, or you can choose a cargo bulkhead, or even nanites. If you've got everything like I have here and I've got all the bulkheads I need, I could just choose nanites at that point. But that's where you'll find all of these types of upgrades, and they work with the different types of ships. Like you got one that works with the combat ship, you got one that works with the trade ship, one that works with the exploration, and then the industrial ship. Then you got one that works on your fuel efficiency for when you send a fleet out of frigates, and one that affects the speed of the expedition. And then of course you have the ones that augment the warp drive. So that's all good right there. All right, so that pretty much covers all the technology. Now let's look at the different base parts, the rooms itself that you can build. And there's three types of rooms basically, in addition to these outdoor ones. Now over here on the left, these are probably the least important. These are just mainly aesthetic rooms. You put in there for, you want an exterior platform or a catwalk, a glass corridor, stairs, glass stairs, that kind of stuff. Here, windows and walls. This second little stack here, this is kind of like your command room area, right? So fleet command rooms are important. You should have at least one on your ship, and depending on how many frigates you have, you may want to have 5 or even more, depending on how often you play, how long it takes your frigates to run missions and all that. You can send out 5 missions a day. So if you have 5 rooms, then that will cover your daily missions. The problem is sometimes these missions can run for a long time. They can run for 28 hours. They can run for 30 some odd hours. I think they'll go up to 2 days, I believe. It's hard to say because I haven't I've had all those fuel or not the fuel ones, but the ones that affect the speed of the expedition on for so long that I really don't get a good idea of how long it takes for these missions anymore. But they could take some serious time. So if you've got long missions that take that long, you may want to put in a couple extra fleet command rooms just in case a day passes and 3 of your guys come back, but you can still send out 5 more and you have 2 out. Well, that's going to be 7 missions altogether, so you want to be ready for that. All right, next up in here that's very important, I think, is the scanner room. This one is huge. And what this does is when you get to a system, you go here and you scan the system, and it'll tell you everything, all the planets, what they're like. It'll tell you if it's a humid planet, if it's a barren planet, et cetera, et cetera. You'll be able to see what resources are available on these planets, and it's very helpful. We'll go take a look at it here in a second. The galactic trade room's nice if you have one of those, because you can, every time you get to a new system, you can check that real quick and get a look at some of the resources that are available in your system. And it's also great to have if you bring back your missions, your frigate missions. You can just take the stuff that you gained on those missions, bring it right to the galactic trade room, and then sell it and make as much money as possible really quick instead of gumming up your inventory. And then, of course, you got the teleport chamber. Just like it's nice to have one at every base, it's nice to have one on here so you can fast travel to any of your bases and then all the different starships and so forth and so on. Just fantastic. The appearance modifier room, no big deal. This is all plant related. Probably, not a high priority. I would wait on these and get those kind of toward the end. I would first focus on this one, that one, and definitely the scanner room. So I'll probably go 1, 2, 3, and 4 myself. Command room, scanner room, galactic trade terminal, and teleport chamber. And then I'd come over here to the more industrialized stuff, and storage room, hugely important. And you only need to unlock one. It'll give you 10 different storerooms. So get that refiner room, get that storage room. The refiner basically works as a large refiner. You can put up to 3 different resources into it and blend them together to make other resources and all that, or just use it to break down a single resource, whatever. That's great. The expansion room, no big deal. The stellar extractor room, we're going to go take a look at those. I'm really not happy with them. I think they need to adjust how those work because they're very useless right now. They're cool looking, I will tell you that. They're pretty awesome looking, but they're just useless. And we'll go take a look at all these rooms real quick. And then you have the orbital exocraft materializer. This is a must-have. If you do not have this on your ship and you have exocraft anywhere in any of your bases, put this in immediately, because whenever you go to a system and this freighter is in that system and you go down to a planet surface, any exocraft that you have built anywhere can be summoned on the planet you're on. So you can find a nice water planet, and if you have a little Nautiline somewhere on your own little aquatic base, you can just summon it right there in the ocean and go zipping around in that thing and gather up what you need and get the hell out of there, instead of trying to swim around or trying to gather the resources to build the pad for it and all that kind of nonsense. It's just right there. So boom, definitely a hot commodity. Now these rooms, as we saw how they were divided up here, and let's get back there real quick. They, in addition to being divided up by their purpose, like industrial rooms, industrial, biological, and then technology, sometimes they have different heights to them on the floor and all that. So if you try to combine a refining room with the technology room expansions, which is basically just an empty room, you'll have a height difference that will not give you an open area. It will give you like little walls, and it'll almost be like a 4-way doorway around that one room if it's in the middle of a bunch of technology ones. So you kind of want to stick these together and keep them close to each other if you want to make big rooms. If you want some separation, you can put them next to each other, to make it interesting. It's all up to you. All right. And I think the biological one also is the same height as this. These are the technology rooms here, as you can see. And here's the fleet command stations. There's the galactic trade terminal right there. We got the teleport room I told you about way back there. And then here, this is, like I said, one of the most important ones. I like to warp with my ship, and when I get somewhere after I warp, I immediately run up the stairs, come over here, and it's good to have it in a convenient location. Scan and upload and get some nanites right away. But see, like I told you, it shows you every single planet and what they have on them, their sentinel levels. So perfectly fantastic. All right, we'll move on to the industrial rooms. Like I said, this is a refiner right here, and like I said, it's just like a regular old large refiner you put on a base. 3 inputs, 1 output. Now, I have had situations occur with these where I've put stuff into them and then, buggered around the system a little bit. Maybe went to my base, maybe went to the star base or whatever, and come back and they're completely empty. So they are, I don't recommend using these for very important things that you're going to let sit there unattended. This is more like, hey, I'm going to do some work around here, but I'm going to go ahead and process some runaway mold into nanite, so let me throw it in there and walk away, do what I got to do, and then come back and gather it up. That's my thoughts on it. And here are the different storage containers. As you can see, each one has a number on top of it, 0 through 9. There's 10 of them all together. And you can also, if you look under where it says storage container, you can rename them to reflect what's inside there. Like this one is building supplies. So at a quick glance, I know which storage container I want to look into to get what I need. I know if I need metal plating, this is where it's going to be. And those same titles show up here: resources, maps, fuel, relics, random, food stuff, building supplies. So you see, I've got them divided up my own way. It makes sense to me how they are. I get it. You may, you're going to come up with your own way to do it. Excuse me. Or you may just, leave it as numbers. That's up to you, man. It's your game, right? And last thing I want to talk about, here's a stellar extractor, right? Like I said, they're cool looking. Got that motion going on there and little steam. Very, very cool looking. We go inside of it, and based on what kind of system you're in, whether it's a yellow system, a red system, a green, or a blue, I'm not sure if they're in the right order here, but it's going to depend on what these extractors are going to pull from the very vacuum of space and process into here. Now, this is a very slow process. As you can see, we've only got 6 in there so far, and this video is what? This video is 17 minutes long. So we've been in here at least 17 minutes. Plus, I was kind of hanging around doing a little bit of crap beforehand, before we started filming. So, I'd say we've been in this system a good 30 minutes, and that's what we've collected. 6 and 6. 6. I got more over here. So, it's definitely not a lot. I keep them in here because combined with these things, they look like part of like some kind of big, massive engine room, which is, in my book, badass. You may not like it. I totally dig it. All right, last but not least, let's go look at these biological rooms. I have a full garden upstairs. And these are cool because you have basically a mobile garden using these, right? I mean, look how massive this is. And you can put your little dude in here, your assistant, the farmer guy. Just like you could put all of those guys that you can recruit for your base, all of them here. And then you can plant pretty much anything you could plant in a regular planter. Back home on a base, you can plant here. And to pick things up, you don't even need a glove. You can just hold down square in the middle there where it says harvest all plants. And it will take all 4 of the plants around it, harvest them, and reset them back to the beginning of their growth stage. So if it's 6 hours to grow, 8 hours, 16, whatever, it's going to automatically reset them. Not as efficient space-wise, I believe, as the big biodomes on planet side, but if you are making a nomadic type character that this is his main base, well, here you have every single plant available that can be growing for different things. And a lot of these things like this can be turned into phosphorus, the selenium, and this can be turned into dioxide, the frostwort, and so forth and so on. You can make paraffinium, you can make ammonia, pyrite, I don't remember, but anyway, each one has its own thing that can be made. You can have plenty of facium here, and we also had some mordite up front, and then lots of nip buds, because those are money in the bank. Basically, I can run around and just pick them up and come away with a couple $1,000,000, from running short. And then in the walls, you have carbon growing, right? Look at it, that was 123. Let's see how much we get out of this one. Oh, nothing. Here we go. So 43. So we're not getting, you know, a small amount of carbon. We're getting a decent amount of carbon doing that. And if you look around here, I mean, they're just everywhere, right? So we could theoretically walk away with a metric ton of carbon if we wanted to spend the time. And we also have the nutrient processor up here, which is, you know, cool, but again, not necessary. You know, but you know, if you're going to do cooking and you don't have a base with the cookers on it, well, this might be the way to do it. And you might, in fact, want to put multiples of these up. That's up to you. I always say it's your game. So those are the most important rooms that you can add to your freighter. And of course, in addition to those rooms, you have, and here we'll see how they're placed out. Like this is all those ones I told you were kind of like optional. Excuse me, not really necessary, anything like that. And then here's your high-tech technology rooms, that where we had the teleport chamber and all that, biological rooms. And as you can see, we can put the plants in right from here on the same page, just like from here. We could put down some of this basic portable technology. And I do recommend having a save point somewhere on your ship, and I'll show you exactly where later. Then you got all your industrial rooms, and as you can see, you can build all these. These are all grayed out because you're only allowed one per ship, so yeah, no big deal. But tons of storage, right? You got 10 of these, and they each have 100 storage. That's solid, man. That's 1,000. You know, that's 1,000 stacks of stuff. That's a lot of stuff. So, well worth it. Is it 10? No. Yeah, it's like 100. Yeah. Anyway, and then you got some of the decorative stuff. Most of what you can build on the base back home, you can build up here. I think I noticed some stuff that's missing, but you know, not all of it. There's all those plants and some cool Quicksilver items, planetary glitches, and then all the decals in the world that you want. And of course, here's the legacy freighter modules, man. Yeah, these bring back memories. I almost want to build a classic legacy freighter just for the fun of it, but you know, the problem is not all of the old technology, the machines and all that you know, used to use. Like I can't put a regular old large refiner in here. I have to use the refiner room. So in any case, that is what it is. So, and that's really it, man. As far as freighters go, when you're building a new freighter, those are the things I would definitely focus on, because you'll get the most out of your freighter. And if you have a good freighter, you know, you can get away without having a big base if you want. You know, I love this thing. And I've got a character that I just started up that he's going to be basically a nomad and not use any real bases. And he's going to slap down, I've already slapped down one on that playthrough. But it's just a little hole in the wall, and it's basically a placeholder. You know, so anytime I find a system where I want to put a placeholder in because something like maybe there's a good derelict freighter there, or maybe there's a really awesome ship there that I want to get and come back to, I'll just build one of those little tiny mini bases, and it's just, you know, it's like a bookmark to say, hey, here's where you wanted to go. All right, guys. Well, thanks, as always, for joining me. I am Captain Beefy with the Game Vault, and this has been another episode of No Man's Sky. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, please leave a like on the video and leave a comment down below. Let me know how you work on your freighter. What are your priorities, and how did you design yours? You know, what did you want yours to look like? Here's my captain's quarters. And don't forget to share us on social media too. The exposure is always greatly appreciated. We are growing in leaps and bounds, and I got a lot of nice plans for this channel to bring out more and varied content of much better quality as we keep growing and getting better. Here's the captain's crapper. Don't ask me how it's used. I don't want to demonstrate that. But I got my own bar, my little sitting area, my little pet Weeble. Where is he? There he is. Some cool fishies. And this is where the magic happens, baby. Well, not really. That's where I sleep. Alright, guys. I'll see you the next time. Until then, peace.